Did Katie from Married at First Sight really cheat on Derek? Holy crap, guys. Last night was the Married at First Sight tell-all reunion special, and it was by far, in 10 seasons, the most explosive tell-all I have ever seen. We have so much to talk about, but of course, I want to cover and make this very clear. What the heck happened with Katie and Derek? Because as we all know, on decision day, 5 months earlier, they decided to stay together, which really shocked me. And for all of the tell-all preview commercials, we saw Kevin Frazier, the host of the season finale tell-all, say that Katie had an affair. And Derek also made the comment. So from what we could see, it sounded like Katie had an affair. But then before the tell-all aired, Katie took to Instagram and said, and she made very clear, I did not have an affair and I did not cheat on Derek. So this is what happened. Basically, Katie and Derek, they were fighting. It wasn't going great. Their marriage wasn't working. Shocker. So one thing led to another. First, they decided to sleep in different rooms. Next thing you know, Katie sat down Derek and said, how about we get separated? And around that point, after she said, let's get separated, she had a romantic night with an ex. It sounds like it was really just a one-night stand with some guy. And she said, hey, I wasn't physical at all with Derek for the past month, and at this point we decided that we were separated. We weren't really married. The only thing that was holding them back was, for some reason, it was taking a while to actually get a real divorce, but Katie was saying we weren't married, we were separated, our marriage and relationship was done. And for that fact and for that reason, I have to side with Katie. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand where Derek is kind of coming from. He could be hurt, he could be upset, but it wasn't like Katie and Derek were full-on married and they never even mentioned the idea of divorce. I mean, they sat down, they talked about let's get separated. They were separated. Now, obviously, they had their apartment leased, so they were still living together, but at this point, they talked about it, they had the conversation, they were separated, they were done. Technically, it wasn't even really a real marriage. Now, I can totally get where Derek is coming from and why he would be upset. I could see why he's hurt. He was definitely really vocal last night. But on the flip side, I get where Katie's coming from too. So I'm at a 50-50 split. I can see where she's coming from. I can see where Derek's coming from. And I don't really want to say that she had an affair because they were separated. Their marriage was totally done. But that is just my opinion. So put in the comments below what you guys think of Katie and Derek. I know so many of you guys do not like Katie, and I have seen some horrible comments her way. But hey, she's a type 1 diabetic just like me, so you gotta show the girl some love. Now that is just the tip of the iceberg with Katie and Derek. Kevin Frazier, the host, also mentioned last night that 2 of the castmates actually went on a so-called date. So who was it? It was Katie and Zach. The notorious Zach that supposedly, allegedly married Mindy, even though he never showed any affection or interest in her at all. So let's just throw it all out there. Did Katie and Zach really go on a date? Not really. No, it wasn't a date. They ended up getting drinks. They did get drinks together by themselves, but it wasn't a romantic date, didn't lead to anything, and it sounds like it was actually before the season aired. And Katie claims that if she would have saw, what Zach did to Lindsay, how horrible he was with Mindy, she would have never even gone out with him. But she was living it, so that doesn't really totally add up. But maybe she didn't really know about the whole Lindsay situation because maybe that was kind of more kept, in private. I don't know. Now, speaking on the topic of Zach and Mindy, we have to talk about them. They are not together. They're not dating. And I wouldn't even really go as far to say that they are even friends. Mindy was hurt. She felt betrayed by Zach. She felt extremely betrayed by her friend Lindsay, or should I say ex-friend. But Mindy, great girl, so mature, so awesome, so positive. She will find the right one. I think she's just a really good time. She's nice, she's sweet, she's fun, she's pretty. She has everything going for her. Now, Zach, on the other hand, I don't know where to start with this guy. They admitted, hey, Zach, you talk in circles all the freaking time. And Kevin Frazier and Mindy also said, you were pretty horrible this season. You showed no interest in Mindy, blah, blah, blah. We all saw it. And what did Zach do? Zach kind of just smiled, sat there, and agreed, which is just exactly what I would expect someone like Zach to do. Zach kind of had his arm friendly, not romantic, but he had his arm around Mindy, trying to be all sweet and nice, and he was bumping her and joking around with her. This guy's a moron, man. Maybe in real life he's not, but on the show, he's a moron. My take on Zach, he came on the show for fame. Maybe he liked Mindy, maybe he didn't. Either way, he gave her 0% of a chance. He was rude. He was just, you never want to say you're not attracted to someone, especially someone you're married to. Zach did that. He was rude. I don't like the guy, honestly. Maybe in real life he's a nice guy, but after watching this season, I thought he was just not there for the right reasons. So Zach and Mindy, that was basically it for them. More on them in a minute. We have to talk about Mika and Michael. Holy crap. That was pretty good. Mika, it sounds like she's doing well. She admitted, hey, I was rude at times, and she did apologize, I think, for that. She understood. She wasn't always right. She was being a little disrespectful. And Michael, I don't really know where he stands with the whole thing. At one point, he walked out of the set for, a different reason. He was really upset, but that's completely unrelated on his relationship with Mika. Clearly, at this point, they're done. They have no interest in being friends. Mika, she can't stand Michael. Michael, obviously, he's a liar. I think Michael did a lot of lying last night in the tell-all reunion, which isn't surprising. And I wish Mika well. I think Mika is going to find someone. And I really do think Mika came on this show for the right reasons. Michael, I don't know why he came on this show. Michael was still acting like he was devastated over their divorce and their relationship. Dude, come on, get out of here. This guy, he needs to go. He's a liar. That's all I have to say about Michael. Nothing else. He's a liar. He's full of crap. And the hilarious thing is that he stayed friends with the notorious Brandon, which is a perfect segment into Brandon and Taylor. Remember, Brandon and Taylor, probably the craziest couple to ever come on this show, and that isn't even really that bold of a claim because they were that nuts. Well, last night we were missing Brandon, and it sounds like it was kind of a twofold reason. Number one, everyone on the show, the producers, the film crew, everyone, even probably the cast, hated Brandon. Brandon was so rude, he was explosive, he was crazy, no one liked to be with him, and I think the film crew and the producers just said, why even invite this guy at this point? Screw him, forget him, and they didn't even invite him. The other reason is because Taylor and Brandon now have like an 150 feet restraining order on each other, so clearly, they couldn't even be in the same set together. So why do they have a restraining order? Well, it sounds like some point after this whole debacle happened, this whole season happened, they ended up going out to a bar completely separate, not together, and of course, Taylor was with a new man, and not just any man, a romantic, friendly man. So some kind of a boyfriend. It sounds like Brandon might have been there alone or with just friends, not with a female friend or anything. But anyway, they ran into each other. Next thing you know, all of a sudden Brandon's taking pictures of Taylor and this new guy. Taylor gets really upset. One thing leads to another. There's some form of an altercation, a physical altercation, like maybe Taylor might have pushed Brandon. Maybe she didn't. We don't really know. But one thing leads to another. Brandon calls the police, and Taylor and Brandon end up going to jail for like 24 hours because there's no way to prove either side. And it gets even crazier because it ended up going to like a court case, like a 2-day court case, and it sounds like half the cast were in the court case. Like Katie, Mindy, Mika, and I think Michael were actually in this court case. So it was just horrible, unbelievable, really, when you think about that. Their relationship could just go from being married at first sight to this explosive, crazy thing. And I have to put like 65% of the blame on Brandon. I think the guy is nuts. I really seriously do. Maybe he has social, panic attacks. Hey, so do I. So does the rest of the freaking world. We all have anxiety and panic attacks, but maybe his is extremely severe. That's what he was blaming it on. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I can't be one to judge, but I really do think he is just way too explosive and just kind of nuts. But I do want to put some of the blame on Taylor because Taylor, I don't think, is super innocent in this situation either. I just have a hunch that she might be, number one, I think she might have came on the show for the wrong reasons. Number two, I think she might have been kind of exaggerating or lying about her past. And number three, I think she might have kind of been, I don't know, just kind of putting on a show during the show. I just have a hunch that she was being fake and lying at times. Like when she told the story about her and Brandon at this bar and they got into this big fight, it made no sense. And then even Michael kind of said, of course, Michael isn't reputable at all. But Michael did say during the court case, the story that we heard was totally different. Still think she's gorgeous, think she's kind of nice, but I think she's kind of full of it. And that leaves the last but not least couple, Austin and Jessica. Shocker, they're still together, they're thriving, they're doing amazing things, they're eventually going to have kids. My biggest concern for this couple, to tell you guys the truth, is how Austin is starting to look like a cloned replica of Jessica. Am I the only one that's seeing this? I mean, come on. You hear that old telltale, saying that when you're with someone all the freaking time, like a significant other, you start looking like them. And Austin and Jessica, they are starting to look so much alike, it's kind of freaky. But they're doing well. Austin got on one knee last night and kind of like re-proposed to her, kind of. Gave her a commitment ring. It was cute. It was sweet. There were some tears, even from, I got a little emotional, teary-eyed. I think they're a great couple. I would love to have what Austin and Jessica have, but that is another great lead to backpedal and transition back to Katie and Derek, because we aren't even fully done with what happened with them. I mean, there was so much drama, so much fighting in last night's tell-all, and Katie and Derek both were really mad. She was claiming that he was just being totally fake for the cameras. He just came on the show for exposure. At the end of the day, I really can't read Derek. I feel like I have a hunch on how I can read Katie. I didn't think they were a great match because I thought Katie was out of Derek's league, and I always thought it was this thing right here, the guy's hair and the guy's clothes. I always thought if he would get this mole removed, get a little haircut, and get some new clothes, they would be a better match. But I think at the end of the day, Katie, they have different personalities, it seems like. They didn't have a whole lot of synergy when you really look at it, and it was for the best. I was able to get in touch with some people at the Married at First Sight film crew, and we have been talking about me doing some really fun interviews with some of the previous couples that stayed together, like Anthony and Ashley, and a lot more. So if you guys want to hear some of these interviews, I think it would be a freaking blast. Put in the comments below who you want me to interview. It needs to be one of the couples that is on the Couples Couch Married at First Sight spinoff. So check that out. Put in the comments below. Let me know. And in the meantime, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and please, seriously, guys, comment, because I want to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and stay tuned for many more.